it's not just the saving of, it's not like just saving a tribe in the Amazon, although that's all very good and that all should be done. I'm not saying that's not important. There's something very special about the science, the knowledge, the light of Dharma that is here, which is not a religious thing, but it's a human thing, human possibility thing, that is really, it's more than just saving a particular country, you know. And I'm not single-handedly into that, but I just feel it's like none of my academic colleagues, they cannot get out of the idea that they're studying some natives, and aren't they quaint, and aren't they weird, and they went and lived in a monastery, and they're kind of grimy faced, and they didn't have like plumbing and whatever, you know. I mean, the whole of Tibet is one giant Swedish toilet. They don't need plumbing. Just go out and crap anywhere, and it goes into the place. Of course, it's not very good when they do it in India or some hot climate, and it's a little bit disease-ridden. But you know, I mean, it's very fascinating. They didn't have a road system because the small population of Tibetan farmers would have been endlessly standing on those roads, like you saw those poor Chinese soldiers back there. Yeah. Because they all fall down every year because of the way the place is. And so, you know, I guess there are very few people, unfortunately, who are sort of have had the kind of Dharma experience, but are willing to sort of live in the grubby academics place and sort of modulate themselves in that sense. And then are also trying to do some activism. I think there are few who are trying to do all that three, although I've had about 15 PhDs now. Unfortunately, I started late because I was in undergraduate college for the first 15 years. I've had about 15 of them, and I think some of them actually hopefully will try to straddle those things. Because, you know, frankly, the American university is another very sick institution, in my opinion. They sit there with their billions of dollars invested in any weird military industry or whatever it is, and they act like they're so smart and they know everything, and then they all work for drug companies and manufacture weird neurotransmitters. The psychology departments, they don't even believe there's a psyche, and all they do is kill animals. And then they have like wafer thin machines that slice their brains after they give them different types of drugs to see where the brain went. At Columbia, we have guys who have pregnant macaques, and they induce strokes in them, and then they give them weird drugs, and then they take the fetus out, and they put metal helmets on their head, and then they put them back. And they get millions of dollars from the government and from these drug companies to think they think they're helping somebody with that. And then 20 years later, there's no data, nothing that's useful to anybody. And so I mean, it's a very sick thing, trying to keep alive some different kind of study, or even the idea. It's very interesting. After many years, they sort of have an idea that there are other world religions, like Christianity and Judaism, but you know, and Catholicism is a religion other than Protestantism. They have a tiny idea of that, but they can't understand that there could be another kind of science. They, you know, like E.O. Wilson, we will know everything. We know everything. You know, it's such baloney. They don't even know what to eat, whether to eat spinach or broccoli for lunch. The medical schools teach no diet. They create these doctors who don't talk to their patients. You know what I mean? So as I'm getting older and I'm sort of fizzling out, I guess, I'm kind of realizing that to turn this lunacy around to save our grandchildren, basically, you know, our grandchildren will not. And what are we bringing them here for? If we're going to just say, oh, after me, the deluge, like that French king did. Yeah? Après moi, la deluge. I call it the Marie Antoinette syndrome. And so this gives me a different intensity. I didn't expect that, frankly. You know, I didn't expect to get all involved with Tibetan culture. And when I studied it, I realized what an amazing bunch of wisdom is contained in it. Which is why it's amazing. I mean, their country was smashed here, completely crushed. And it's not just the Chinese are not just to be blamed. Western corporations, Japanese corporations, the whole globalization, we all make money in China, so let them do whatever they want. And even in places like America, people will tell you, oh, it's just they're Indians. It's their Lakotas, their Hopis, their Apaches. They let them kill them. They have a right. We killed ours. I've heard that from people in Texas and other places. Actually, they dare say that to my face. You know, and of course, I come from a lineage. My great-grandparents killed Indians. They had black slaves. You know, they did that sort of thing. I'm infiltrated in that lineage, I guess you could say. But it's enough of it, you know. I think. The Dalai Lama always said, you know, even if something seems hopeless, You have to do everything you can, and if you fail, you then have no regrets. There's a wonderful story in Buddhism about a dove, actually, and that dove was in a forest fire, and her nest was burned. She was the former life of some bodhisattva, and then all the animals were stampeding through the forest fire and trying to get away from it. It was a big crisis and a disaster. So that dove went and landed in a lake, and then flew over the forest fire with her wings dripping on the forest fire until she died, actually. But she gave her life like that. She was born as the head of the fire department.